everyone.
And
Welcome to the 88th episode of the Poorly Planned Podcast. My name is Benedict. You may know me better as BHL Hudson. Here we talk about movies, TV shows, a bunch of nonsense. With me as always is my friend, co-host, and back in Scotland, which somehow means our audio is now better.
Now that we're many more thousands of kilometers apart,
which
it's way better.
Is very indicative of just the pod in general. When we're closer together, it's more terrible. And the further away you get.
And the further away we get, it gets actually good. No, it's quite sad.
Yeah, so Freddy has gone back to Scotland for a brief period to take care of some business. That makes it sound like you're on some assassination mission or something.
Yes, which I am. I'm getting assassinated tomorrow.
And he has this Blue Yeti mic there, so enjoy.
So hopefully it works out.
Yeah, unless, of course, somehow it doesn't, and then this audio will be not good, and this part will be really awkward because the audio is bad. But hopefully it won't come to that.
You'll just be used to the normal audio then.
Yeah, used to the normal trash. Well, welcome back to our podcast. The usual garbage.
We hope you enjoy. Yeah, anyone new now are gonna sit there. What have I started?
So today we're gonna be doing the cheekiest of episodes. It's a news and mini reviews episode.
Oh my god. We're so original.
They'll never see it coming. So we're going to go over some mini reviews, as in what we've watched since we did our last mini reviews pod. And then we're going to talk about some news. Spoiler, it's not really news. It's just trailers. We got 6 trailers. And only one of them we really have to talk about a lot. But there's some interesting stuff.
So this will be a 10-minute episode.
Yeah. I'm, of course, referring to Hotel Transylvania Transformia, pardon me. God. So, without further ado.
God. He's so good.
Let's get into...
We wonder why he's so successful on YouTube.
I feel like I'm living proof that... I was about to say, even idiots can get successful, but I think calling myself successful is a bit... It's a bit generous.
Yeah, only part of that is true. You are the biggest idiot.
Well, first of all, mini review number 1. Very excited to talk about this. I did, in fact, finally see Druk, a.k.a. Another Round. And you did as well, actually.
Me too!
Yeah.
I did as well, yeah.
Because there was a period where I'd seen it and you hadn't, and I was just like, I need to get my most recent thoughts out there. And I couldn't. So yeah, Druk, the Oscar-winning best foreign film, Danish film. In case you don't know, we live in Denmark. And we've been very excited for this movie for a while. We love Mads Mikkelsen. We love Thomas Vinterberg.
We love Mads Mikkelsen and anything.
And genuinely, what an absolute banger of a movie. And, I mean, okay,
it's so good.
Banger's
honestly.
kind of a weird word to use because that implies it's like a crazy, like, party rave kind of thing. Which
it is.
Which accurately describes it, so I don't know why I said that. But it's genuinely an excellent film. It's very fun. It's very poignant. It has some, some hilarious moments, some very dark moments. And like the message of the film is great, and it's very Danish, which I appreciate about a film. So it's pretty weird to see, because I feel like people who live in like New York or LA or something are very used to this, but like it's very weird for me to see like Denmark on a cinema screen, like places I've been.
Locations in Denmark.
Like Isto, they're on the Isto. I'm like, oh my, I'm pretty sure they're at this lake at one point that I've been to, and it was just pretty fun to see. And like they have the Studenterhue, which I mean, as you see in the background of my videos, I have my Studenterhue. We went on truck rides. It was absolutely phenomenal. And just the film was very well written and well performed, and I thought it really walked that nuanced line of the theme of how alcohol fits into people's lives. I thought it really did a good job with, because I thought like either it's going to be kind of weird if it goes with a message like alcohol is 100% bad all the time, then it would be like, it's a little strange, especially for a Danish film where like the drinking culture, and they talk about the drinking culture as well, but then also they say like alcohol is the best, and you like, if the moral was you should actually be drunk all the time, then that would be weird as well.
Then it's also not great.
Exactly.
They do a good job of mixing the two of them.
Yeah, it was a very interesting and very unique I haven't really seen that explored, especially from that Danish perspective, because there is such a drinking culture here. And even if you're not Danish, you can just appreciate it as a very good, well-written film about, characters trying something and then it going off the rails, and then how that develops.
And then the repercussions and...
Yeah, just a great film. And Mads Mikkelsen is so good.
Mads Mikkelsen is brilliant in it. Honestly, I like everyone in it, honestly. Especially, of course, Mads Mikkelsen, but also the piano teacher. He's quite good as well.
No, the whole cast is fantastic. And yeah, it's very funny as well. It has that kind of Danish sense of humor, and also maybe a bit emotional, if I do say so myself, at a couple points.
I agree.
And not to spoil it, I don't think there's a spoiler. I think it's in like trailers and stuff. But I will just say, and you can skip to the next one, the time codes, if you don't want anything spoiled.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room.
the Mikkelfant. There is in fact a Mikkelsen dance sequence, and it is
the man's sequence.
I think we should have stopped at Mikkelfant, because that was the peak of this pod. And it is
the peak of comedy.
So bloody brilliant.
It's glorious.
Mikkelsen
jazz ballet.
Because he's a, I don't know if you knew this, but like he did dance. Like he's a dancer. Like
I can tell.
Well, yeah, I mean it's bloody seamless, and for a man who's what, like 50 or something,
75 years old,
13. He's like
for a dude who's been dead for 3 years.
He's doing parkour. He's swinging through the trucks.
He's a nimble man.
He's jumping over benches. It's just a delightful time. So yeah, just a great film. Very interesting.
It's such a great,
weirdly feel good. Yeah, for like a movie that does have very dark moments. Weirdly feel good film. So highly recommend Druk / Another Round. Check it out if you have not seen it.
Check it out.
Then I don't think you've heard of this film because it's really good.
All right. Good dig.
All right. I'm hurt. It's called The Mithcells versus the Machines, and it's on Netflix.
That's literally my favorite movie.
It's a new movie on Netflix from... it's not directed by Lord and Miller, but it's like produced and from the kind of the Sony animation team who did... what's it called? Into the Spider-Verse. And... it's very similar to Into the Spider-Verse in a few ways, in that it's extremely creative and the animation is spectacular. It's this very creative style because it's about a girl who is like a filmmaker, and so the film is kind of presented as if it was one of her crazy YouTube films with like all these fun edits and stuff.
Okay.
And it has a great sense of humor. It's a family road trip / apocalyptic sci-fi movie. It's very fun. It's a delightful time. And they have a very adorable dog. And it's sweet and funny and just a very good time. I think you would enjoy it, genuinely. It's very good.
All right. What was it called again?
The Mithcells versus the Machines. It's a very good family movie, too. Like, everyone can enjoy. Hashtag The Incredibles. Hashtag The Mitchcredibles.
Hashtag Mitchell.
I don't know.
The Mitchcredibles. What did I just hear?
I'm a bit off today.
Brilliant, sir.
I started with McElephant or whatever the and now we've gotten to Mitchcredibles.
The Mickafant.
The Mickafant. It sounds like a...
Sounds like that dude, that oliphant dude's brother.
Timothy Mickafant. Anyway.
Timothy Mickafant.
Go ahead.
Anyways, I've got two things that could kind of stick to this theme.
Ooh.
I don't know which one to choose from. So I think we will go Apocalypse.
Oh.
And say Army of the Dead.
You dirty dog. I have Army of the Dead on my list. What the
God, well, let's talk about it.
Let's skip it then. The one time we could actually have a decent conversation on this pod, let's get rid of it.
Let's not do it.
We just usually have one monologue to the other, and then just the next segment. Dude, what'd you think? Also, spoilers for Army of the Dead. There are time codes down below, so you can skip around as you please.
It was
kind of trash.
I think it was not the best thing I've ever seen. I won't lie.
No,
I think Dave was thoroughly okay.
Average.
The daughter I hated with a passion.
One of the worst characters ever committed to film.
God, I hated her so much. Whatever you do, don't leave my sight. Literally blows the entire operation.
I really enjoyed the Batista assertiveness where he's like, "You are not f***ing going." She's like, "Yes, I am." He's like, damn it, okay, fine. Like, it took like
Fine.
2 seconds. She was like, oh, I'll go later if you don't. It's like, just handcuff her to something. Like, there are so many better there's an infinite number of options that are better than bringing her to the zombie apocalypse. I do have some notes here because I'm going to make a review on it, so I'll just peek through these real quick. Yeah, so, okay, when it was having fun and, like, really using the premise, it was great. There are 2 scenes that come to mind. The opening credits were amazing with the spoilers, I guess, but yeah, the Vegas takeover of the zombies. And I love the premise. I think it's an amazing premise. Like, one city is just taken over by zombies. You have to go in there and do a heist. Come on, that's a brilliant. It's
thing. Awesome.
And then also when I can't remember any characters' names, but when the chainsaw guy and the safecracker guy, they had to get the zombie to walk through the booby traps. That was really fun.
that was
wonderful.
Yeah. Where they don't take themselves too serious in the movie, it gets good. I like that. What's he called? Dieter or something? The like German dude.
The safecracker. He was initially. I was like, this guy's gonna be so annoying, but I was like, you know what? Kind of weirdly endearing.
I warmed up to him. Yeah. Also, kind of hella buff. I thought he was gonna be like a little shrimp man, but he was actually man was built.
I mean, yeah, but then a lot of it was kind of just a bit generic action movie zombie stuff, and I mean the sunglasses dude, the evil military man. He was like, I thought there was gonna be like some kind of maybe twist on him because he was so obviously villainous. I was like, okay, well he's too cartoonishly villain, but then
yeah, but he's actually just a bad dude.
Yeah, so, and he was just cartoonishly horrible. I did enjoy the tiger just mauling his face for like 10 minutes. It's kind of because he was so annoying. Yeah. I was like, you know what? I'm glad that we got like a 30-minute sequence of just him being thrown around by a zombie tiger.
I think they kind of went a bit too complex with the zombie stuff sometimes, with like the whole leader, and some of them can turn into more intelligent zombies. Like, just let them be zombies.
Well, that's the thing with also Zack Snyder has said about this. He's like, I want to leave all these hints throughout the movie so the audience can think like what does this mean, and so you know how some of them have blue eyes randomly, and then there's like a zombie leader and then his pregnant zombie wife and all that stuff, and he's like, are some of them like plants by the government? Like, I want the audience to think about these things. I'm like, okay, I get that, and some of it is kind of
shut up, sack.
Like, I think some of that is okay and it kind of is interesting, but then some of it just kind of feels like you just put a setup without a payoff. Like, you're just like, there's this thing, and then it's like the audience to think about it. It's like, yes, the audience will think about it, but then you usually have a resolution at the end. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
You usually don't make us think for nothing, Zach.
I hate thinking.
Well, I might just have, this might just have been like something I imagined, but I swear I saw a zombie that was shot in the face and had like Terminator style, had like a metal skeleton.
I think I noticed that too. It had like blue eyes or something.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like where the blue eye and like its face was kind of metallic.
Yeah. But
what's happening, Zach?
But the movie wasn't interesting enough for me to be like, really like, oh, that's so crazy. I was just like, it's kind of weird, and then I sort of forgot about it until you just brought it up. Also, it drove me fucking insane the number of times these characters did the movie thing where you stop and have this conversation when there's no time. You are in a city that is 20 minutes from being nuked, and there are zombies everywhere, and you're like, I wish we could have had a relationship, but I guess, and you have this intimate hug. And I was like,
I noticed that as well. I don't notice many things when I watch movies, but this is something I did notice because it was so blatantly stupid.
There's a nuke coming. Like, and then I have to say it, like when then the zombie comes and then just snaps her head backwards. I was like, well, that's what you get. Like, you should have had this legit.
Serves you right. Also, that was kind of unexpected. I won't lie.
No, yeah, but when the zombie jumps on the helicopter at the end, they had. Oh my god! So the woman, whatever her name was, helicopter lady.
The helicopter?
Yeah, she shows up. She has a quip. They have a little, Batista and his daughter share like a meaningful look, and then the zombie comes. If you had just gotten on the helicopter, no one had said anything, no one had a meaningful look, you could have gotten out of there with plenty of time to spare before that zombie came up. I was like, just fucking move, you idiots! Like, oh my god, that was just the thing that kept.
We would have survived this way better.
Are you kidding me? We would have been like 3 Batistas and 2. As Snyder films are, it was well shot. Generally, it was like it was visually
good visuals. Like Shades was in it.
Shades, as again, just like the most cliche, horrible human being. Like, I was just like, I don't know, there's nothing interesting. It was just like kind of going through the motions, and that's the thing, you can have this going through the motions plot if you have a really cool premise, but then when you don't really use the premise of Vegas zombies, like, they used it very occasionally, and I did kind of laugh a little bit at the extremely Snyderish shot of Batista mowing down zombies as money falls around him. It was very much like, I don't know, strangely
like,
strip
all right,
club
Snyder,
vibes.
I'll cut you some slack.
And yeah, and then like Batista.
What do we think of the dude who gets away but then is infected?
We said spoilers, right?
Yeah,
I think we did. Whatever, we're too cool for that. I liked him in the movie, and then at the end I was like, as per usual. Also, and maybe I'm just stupid, which can, I feel like a lot of movie flaws can be explained like
probably,
that.
But
is it just me, or did that guy survive a nuclear explosion by being in a safe?
Yes.
Is that how... Okay, because Indiana Jones did it as well, where he sits in a fridge.
Well, okay, Indiana Jones legit survived in a fridge.
Is that
Indiana
how
Jones would be...
nukes work?
No.
Because I'm pretty sure you would still be obliterated.
You would still be obliterated, but even if you don't, the freaking radiation from the nuclear bomb that he then walks out into... Legit, I was also sitting here thinking this, God, we're so alike.
We should have watched this together, man. And then
we should run a podcast.
And then he just buys a plane, and they're like, in cash. Can you do that?
Right.
Can you buy a plane in cash? I'm pretty sure you can.
I have to say, I did kind of like the scene. Like, it made no sense, but I did like the scene where, like, the zombie song came on, like, at the end, where he, like, travels throughout.
I believe... Wait, let me find my note on that. I wrote... Where is it? Well, I wrote something like, the song Zombie comes on at the end, epic or cringe?
I found it kind of epic,
I was like,
just because I like
it's kind of amazing.
Epic or cringe?
That's the title of my video. Yeah, and then Batista gets infected with the virus and his daughter has to kill him, like exactly how you'd expect it to end. Also, did you notice that the helicopter woman was a CGI replacement, or like a green screen replacement? Because the guy who was playing that character has been outed, like Me Too'd as some kind of, sexual harassment something, and so
really? So
she was green screened in, which, to be honest, the first scene I was like, something is very weird about this. Like, something was really weird and stilted about the way they were talking. I was like, I can't really put my finger on it, but besides that, I genuinely thought they did a pretty good job, because I didn't really notice throughout the rest of the film.
I didn't really notice it either. No. So Army of the Dead.
Yeah.
How many Batistas out of how many bombs?
Out of how many what?
Batista bombs.
Batista bombs.
You know what?
Is that a wrestling thing?
You're not familiar. That was his wrestling move.
Oh, he did that in the movie,
WWE.
didn't he? Where he slammed a zombie. Maybe 6.5 Batista bombs out of 10 nuclear bombs that are coming. Why aren't you running, Batista, you moron? I don't know. It had some fun in it. I was entertained, but it was just...
I'll give it one daughter out of 16 Batista bombs.
She was the worst, wasn't she?
God, she was awful.
Anyway,
like, she's the one I wanted to die the most, and she's the one person who lived.
Yeah, that's a bit of an L.
Typical.
Then, well, speaking of kind of a similar thing, Godzilla versus Kong. In a vaguely similar way, but I think it does it better, probably. When it's having its fun monster smashing time, it's amazing. And everything else is, how do I say this nicely? God awful. I don't know. Everything else.
How am I not going to be a dick here? It's the worst thing I've ever seen.
Not going to be an asshole. It made me want to burn my eyes out. It was, whenever there's the monster stuff, it's really well done. The effects are fantastic. There's great build up and like beats in the action scenes themselves. Like, clearly so much time and effort was put into planning the action scenes, executing them. There's cool uses of their powers and their like different abilities and stuff. Brilliant. And the thing is, that's what you want the movie, like, that's the one thing the movie had to do right. So I give it a lot of credit for that. And everything else,
was just
the dialogue and the story. I mean, a lot of the story centers around, and I think you would appreciate this, being one yourself, a podcasting idiot who accidentally himself throughout this story with two children. This idiot and two children get into this like secret facility and stuff and do all this. They get into spoilers. They get into Mechagodzilla's test chamber. This like secret facility. Just these three this one idiot and these two children, and they do all this.
What, like on purpose?
Yeah,
Or...
like they sneak around this whole thing. And he's so. No offense to this guy. I think it's more the writing than his performance. One of the most irritating characters I've ever seen. Because everything he says is...
It's less about the writing and more about his face and how it's made.
No. Like, every single thing he says pretty much is like meant to be a joke. And it so didn't land. Except for the one time where he's like, you know, lame joke. And then he's like, yeah, my wife died and I'm doing this for her. And then like lame joke, like it's just like,
and then
it stops.
Then you started laughing when he said that.
No, it was like the one moment, like they just like stop for 1 second. They're like, okay, now you're emotion invested in them. I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, you can't just say this.
He's an idiot.
You can't just say this thing and then expect like, I don't know. But a lot of the human stuff was just dumb and bad. But again, I mean, you know, you come there for the Godzilla Kong stuff, and that stuff more than delivered. So I would genuinely really recommend the movie based on that. Just be warned that most of the rest of it is
skip all the other parts.
Genuinely, you could just... I'm sure it's on YouTube by now. You can just watch the scenes on YouTube, like... Yeah. And then they... I mean, do you want to... Kind of spoil it for you, or...
No, go. I think I already know.
Well, I said spoilers. I think Godzilla wins, essentially. And then they fight Mechagodzilla together, as you'd expect. Yeah. And yeah,
Kong comes in, saves the day. Like, how is Kong ever going to win against Godzilla? Come on now, Kong.
Yeah. Get
Wake
real,
up,
dude.
You couldn't kill Hiddleston. What are you going to do?
And he's the most fragile man.
He's a walking sack of bones, that man. How could you not kill him?
We love you, Hiddleston, I guess. Then... Well, another... God, this is just the us having watched films. This is the worst thing I've ever said.
This is just us having watched films.
I was trying to say this is one where it's like movies we've both seen, but I really just...
It's like, that is accurate. We are doing mini reviews.
We saw, adding it to the Woody legacy, although not much of a legacy adder, if you ask me. We saw Wrath of Man.
Yeah, this somehow detracted from it.
Which I think, genuinely, I think it really, it's fitting for Woody's that our epic Woody's return would be a really...
a thorough stinker.
A really underwhelming, like, not very good movie. What do you think of Wrath of Man? I mean, I know what you thought, but tell the world.
Tell the peeps. Very, very average. Nothing special about it, apart from that one thing that we now love doing.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
Actually, there are two excellent moments, but we'll get to those.
Yeah, like those two moments made the watching the movie worth it, I'd say.
Very much so.
But everything else was very just like, meh.
Well, yeah. So the thing is, it's the first half of it is pretty solid. It's kind of a generic whatever action movie, but you know, Statham kind of carries it a little bit.
Statham doing
it's sort
his
of
thing.
fun. It has some fun moments. And then the second half, inexplicably, is from the perspective of these like other characters who you don't care at all about, and they don't do anything that interesting, and it's like it's revealing what happened. Basically, spoilers, but I'm not gonna get too much into it. But like, it's trying to do the sort of thing where like you see an event at the start, and then it keeps coming back to it and adding more things, so you get like a more fleshed out picture of what happened. And that could, I feel like genuinely the villain side of that, or like the antagonist stuff, that could have been done in like a 5-minute montage scene. But it devotes...
it does not have to be that.
The entire second half of the
like
movie,
almost
basically,
half the movie. Yeah.
to these, it feels like B-roll. Like it's like these antagonists doing their thing, and like you don't care about their character, you don't care about what they're doing. It's not really like that exciting. There's no like really cool action. Like it's just kind of really dull. Like I genuinely can't.
It's kind of really terrible statement. So get to it.
I can't recommend this movie simply because like half of it was like it was so whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Like it was promising.
And if a movie does not get the BHL approval and recommendation,
you better burn it.
It flops at the box office.
But like, yeah, I mean, the first half wasn't brilliant, but like, you know, it was kind of Statham, whatever. And like, I don't know, I feel like Guy Ritchie, yeah, he's so up and down. Like, he makes some of the like most fun, like memorable
greatest movies. # the gentleman.
Like creative, and like every scene is memorable to something where like there's like a 40-minute stretch where like nothing interesting or engaging really happens. Like, I don't know. And yeah, the action's fine. There's some cool stuff at points, but I think we should talk about the two legendary moments in this.
All right, yes. Do you want to reveal?
Well, one is when inexplicably Post Malone shows up, and
yeah, a weird
why? And then he, of course, before being, I think it's in the trailer. Also, I said spoilers. Before getting shot by Statham, he makes the rookie
Suck
mistake
my dick.
of saying that.
Oh yeah.
And of course, Statham's ingenious reply is, "Suck your own dick."
God, it's so awful.
It only is vaguely kind of cool because Jason Statham said it. But if anyone else in the world
imagine anyone else said this. Imagine Will Smith saying this to someone.
I feel like my reaction would just be like, "What?" Oh, it was such a terrible one-liner that it was amazing. And then the second moment, genuinely one of the greatest moments in cinema history. Where I'm not sure we can explain why this is so funny if you haven't seen it, but Statham, for context, Statham has just sexed a
steamy
woman.
Sex scene.
And it hard cuts to...
Statham has just sexed a woman. That's definitely how he refers to it as.
And it hard cuts to post that, where Statham is...
Where it's just him staring directly into the ceiling, looking like... I don't even what word to describe him.
It's just the way... the way it holds on this shot and the way he's positioned. Because he has the duvet, like, halfway up, kind of like...
Like by his nipples kind of thing?
Yeah, kind of like how they do with women in movies where, like, after they have the duvet, like, up to their chest. And then he's like... And he has his hands cupped in his lap. He's doing this, like, wide, like, bow with his arms, and he's just staring, like, directly into the camera, like he hates everything about the entire universe. And it's just, he looks like, if you've seen that meme of that, like sea lion or, like, blubbery sea animal thing, where it's just sitting there with, like, its arms. I'll put a picture of it in if you can find it.
You mean Thwaites. Go on.
No, I didn't.
The blubbery sea animal.
No, Thwaites is in tremendous shape, but it's just a wonderful moment. And yeah, I love it.
It's yeah.
Especially with the context of this is Statham. I mean, I know it's for the character because he doesn't actually care about the woman. He's there to get information, or whatever. But it's just kind of funny that Statham has a steamy scene, and then right after it just cuts to him just. So yeah. Anyway, Wrath of Man, not very good. Do you have any more?
Not brilliant. I do, in fact, have.
All right, we got a speed round though, because we got trailers to do.
All right, right. One of the ones that I watched is the second season of the short episoded series called Love, Death, and Robots. I think I've talked about it before. First season, really, really creative. It's kind of like a similar Black Mirror style thing where each new episode's a different futuristic thing, or just like a new cool premise.
Yeah.
Except in this second season, not great. It was kind of underwhelming. They had a lot of cool premises that just Batista style did not really play out as you would wanted or hoped. Very kind of underwhelming season. There's a few good episodes, but otherwise, not brilliant. So get on it, Netflix, please.
Sounds a bit like how the actual Black Mirror, from what I've heard, kind of goes. That it starts very kind of creative and crazy, and then gets a bit underwhelming.
Yeah.
And
it's each episode is usually like a completely different animation style. So it's I think you'd really like it, especially the first season. There's some really good ones in it. So I recommend it, but this was not as good as the first season. Like, still enjoyable to watch, but not as good as the first season.
Well then, finally, I did in fact see Nobody at the cinema.
Oof.
And genuinely, I think we may have to Woody this. This may be one of those rare repeat viewing for one of us Woodies. Because it's so bloody good. Genuinely a great film. Odenkirk. It's not as, like, kind of... Like, it's more self-aware in kind of, like, a subtle way than it might seem from the trailer. It's not, like, one of those just, like, Liam Neeson, like, old guy, you know, beats up young guys kind of action movie. It's just fun.
What a weird way to describe it. An old guy beats up a young guy.
It's a fun, kind kind of like 80s throwback sort of action movie, and it has great songs, great action scenes. Odenkirk is genuinely excellent. He really pulls off this character and pulls off the action scenes. Just a great film, super brutal at points as well. Really enjoyable. So yeah, good stuff.
Nice. I do want to watch it. I've got one last one, and then we move on.
Ooh.
I'm almost done with Sons of Anarchy.
Oh, the Hun.
The Hun. Can I just say, love the Hun. Brilliant in this show. It kind of takes a while sometimes where it kind of like draws out, but then epic moments happen that totally make up for it. So I'm still going strong. On the 7th episode now, did that in about 3 weeks, I think. Again, very unhealthy.
You mean 7th season?
Oh yeah, that's what I meant.
On the
season
second half of the first episode?
Second minute? Going strong. It's very, very good. There's some characters that I absolutely hate, and there's some characters that I absolutely love. So it's quite good.
Just a shout,
Just a shout, from the Hunnam. From the Raymond Smith.
Well, now it's time for all the trailers. All right, first of all, did you see the trailer for Your Dad? I'm just kidding. It's called Old. That was a really good joke.
I did not, actually.
Also, if your dad's listening, because he's one of the most delightful human beings ever, I'm just kidding. You're a young,
I'm just kidding.
You're a young soul in every way, and I love you. So please,
you're the kind of young man who wouldn't get beat up by Liam Neeson, the old dude.
Exactly. I was just jabbing at Frederick. Okay, Old. It's the new M. Night Shyamalan movie, where a family goes to a beach. That's it.
That's it.
It's horrifying. And so they're like, "Ooh, we found this secret beach, It's a bit of a shout, Anyway, they find a beach, and then it turns out when you're on the beach, time moves faster and you get old really fast. And then they're like, where's my 8-year-old son? Then he's like, hey, I'm 16 now. And the mom's like, ah!
God, what a turn of events. Where's my 8-year-old son? Ah!
It looks kind of bad.
I need to watch this movie.
I'm not gonna lie, it looks kind of bad but kind of fun. It kind of has Woody quality to it.
Okay.
I mean, I really like the
premise.
That's the thing. I think the premise is really cool. And with an M. Night Shyamalan film, it's guaranteed that there's a twist. So I'm curious to see what that is. But I don't know. M. Night Shyamalan, as great as he is at some stuff, that sounds really condescending. You're okay at some things, all right? But I've noticed he's kind of.
He's really trash at others.
At writing dialogue and directing scenes of people talking.
The two things he has to do: writing dialogue and directing.
Directing scenes of people.
I guess he's okay at breathing.
I guess at being a human and living.
He just about passes.
No, but his dialogue often really sounds unnatural. Maybe that's the thing about the actors as well. Anyway, it's a cool premise. It looks kind of interesting. I don't know. Old. Then speaking of oh god, let's find a link here. Speaking of scary things, Dwayne Johnson's newest film, Jungle Cruise, where he teams up with the Blunt to. That sounds like a weed reference. I mean Emily Blunt. Dwayne teams up with the Blunt.
That is speaking of horror movies, goddamn, Dwayne Johnson teams up with the Blunt. The world splits in half.
That's what he says when he's about to get high. Dwayne Johnson's about to team up with the Blunt. God. You know what? I would watch. God damn. I think Mike Tyson has a podcast where they get high and talk about stuff. I would watch Dwayne on that. I think we talked about watching.
Didn't Mike Tyson take a bunch of shrooms on the Impulsive podcast?
Probably, yeah. I would not watch Dwayne on the Impulsive podcast. I think we talked about Dwayne doing a mukbang. We would watch it at one point, which again, I'm here for. Yeah, I would. So if we can campaign for that.
That offer is still on the table,
Dwayne, I'll pay for it. I'll
fly you out.
So it's based on a Disney ride. It's very Pirates of the Caribbean-esque. Dwayne is dressed in a tiny little man suit that doesn't fit him at all, which is kind of funny to make his muscles look big. Dwayne, you already have big muscles. Why do you wear a child's clothing. Like he looks like he's like
The thing is sometimes with people with like bodybuilders, when they wear stuff that isn't tight, they just look enormously fat. So maybe that's what Dwayne is trying to.
But like the way
to not get
the outfit Dwayne also has with like this little like white beret and this like jacket, like he looks like he's dressed up as a little boy, which is kind of hilarious when you see him in action. But anyway, it looks fine. It looks whatever. Looks like a whatever.
Looks like a Dwayne movie. Thoroughly okay.
Thoroughly forgettable. I don't know. I'm trying to think. There's one part where he. I literally can't remember anything. Whatever. Yeah, Dwayne. Good for you, Dwayne. Make that sweet dough.
Make that sweet Dwayne.
Make that sweet Druk bang money. Then, if Dwayne was in
Druk bang.
if Dwayne was in a Thomas Vinterberg movie, would it be called Druk?
Johnson.
Anyway, moving on to Hotel Transylvania Transformia. I don't know why I put this in here, but they turn into normal humans. And so the Jake Peralta character turns into a monster, and then all the monsters turn into humans. They're really just, keeping this franchise going.
They're really milking this one out.
I think I've seen the first one and nothing else, but
me too.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Ice Age. Like the first one was like fun and interesting.
The first 3 Ice Age movies are great.
I would argue the second one's really good. The third one's trash.
One's also really good.
The
third one's so good.
The fourth one I once watched like 10 times on a plane trip, so I have a weird place in my heart for that.
The fourth one is way worse than the third one.
The fourth one has Peter Dinklage.
The third one has a ferret riding a dinosaur.
Exactly. Anyway, yeah, it looks whatever. Apparently they replaced Adam Sandler. So
what?
Yeah,
Why?
when Sandler says no to your movie, maybe that's a sign you shouldn't make the movie.
Maybe just stop.
Maybe just retire from Hollywood.
That's gonna be so weird. Like he's got a very distinct voice in that whole thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Not a shout, you know. Then the Eternals trailer, or sorry, just Eternals. My bad. Did you see this?
Please be professional about it. Is this the one where
it's with your boy Jon Snow and Richard Madden, whatever his character was called, Starkman, Edmonton Starkman.
Edmonton Starkman.
What was his actual name? Was he actually called Edward Stark? No, that was the dad.
That was Ned Stark. It was Rob Stark.
Ah, yes, I was close. Edmonton
Wait,
Starkman.
Eternal. Who's the Eternal again?
They're all the Eternals.
Well, who plays the main character? It sounds like you wrote this movie. They're all the Eternals.
So it's the new Marvel movie, MCU. Come on, you must have seen this.
But who's the main dude?
Richard Madden, Edmonton Starkman.
It's not. Wait. Then am I thinking of another movie?
Probably.
Oh, okay. Well, what are the chances of these two trailers dropping around the same time? I'm thinking of the Mark Wahlberg film called Infinite.
No one has ever said that, including every producer on that film. I'm thinking of the Mark Wahlberg film Infinite? What's wrong with you? God,
I'm so sorry.
I feel like when you're on a date with your girlfriend, she's like, yeah, and that's the last time I saw my dad. You're like, sorry, babe. I'm thinking of the Mark Wahlberg film Infinite. She understands. That
She understands and leaves. Pays for the entire dinner.
You need some time. Anyway, the Eternals. They're like ancient beings, and they are like a team, and they
Don't pretend like we can properly talk about the Eternals now.
And then Mark Wahlberg shows up. No, I'm kidding. Don't get your hopes up. Yeah, it looked good. I think it was good. If you haven't seen it, there's not much to talk about, but
right.
It's from the director of Nomadland, which is promising. And yeah, has a good cast. It's a new kind of thing. Guardians of the Galaxy, it's like a new thing in the MCU. It's not really tied to anything that directly, it seems. And at the end, Edmonton Starkman is like, hey, I could be the new Avengers leader. And they're all like, shut up.
Shut up, Rob.
And yeah, it looks, it looks solid. It has some more interesting visuals. It's not shot as much on green screens as other MCU movies, which is kind of apparent in the trailer, which is nice. And I'm very interested to see it.
Nice.
Yeah, hype.
All right, I'll give the trailer a watch.
Then, Last Night in Soho.
Ooh, I saw a lot of people going crazy about this trailer. I've not seen it, but
The new Edgar Wright.
kind of hyped for the movie.
Never heard of it, but bandwagon. The new Edgar Wright film, which I named as my most anticipated film of 2021. So, or 2020, whenever it was supposed to come out, and then it got pushed. But yeah, it's it seems to be his first like non-comedy, really, because like
Okay.
Baby Driver is still a comedy.
I still laugh throughout the entirety of Baby Driver.
Especially when Doc is run over. I mean, actually,
Especially when Bernthal watches Ham go to town on Gonzalez.
what a horrible sentence. But yeah, it looks very interesting. I think it's a good trailer in the sense that it doesn't show very much, which means there's not a lot to talk about here. But it seems to be a bit of like a thriller horror kind of thing. It's a woman and she goes back in time, and then she like is another person, and there are like different repercussions for going back in time. Like, or she doesn't travel in time, but she's like transported. It's a whole thing. It looks a little bit like that movie Antebellum, which I didn't see, but I thought looked good and then got really bad reviews. But it has your boy Doctor Who in it. It's a
Dr.
podcast.
Hucifer.
Doctor Who. I just go Doctor Hucifer and expect that to be
who's
something.
the doc?
Matt
Well,
Smith
it
or
is.
something. But yeah, it looks. I'm still extremely excited, and I don't really know much about it, which is exciting as well. And yeah, I trust Edgar Wright. Even if I don't like horror movies, I will still see this because Wright. And then finally, the big thing that people wanted us to talk about. There was a comment on the last one saying we need to hear Freddy's thoughts on this. So I hope you've seen. You must have seen it.
This is Infinite by Mark Wahlberg. Yes. This is the only other trailer it could be.
If you haven't seen the Venom 2 Let There Be Carnage trailer, I swear to God.
Of course, I've seen it.
Okay.
Woodrow, different hair.
That was the main point I think people want us to talk about. I don't know. They were onto something with that absolutely horrific hairstyle, and now they've gotten rid of it, which deeply disappoints me. There is a shot of Woodrow.
Are they pretending it just never happened, or are they just?
No, I think he got a haircut, but I mean, if I were them, I'd pretend it never happened, because I'd be like, man, I f***ed that one.
Man,
that's the hair.
Screwed the pooch there.
The costume and hair person's like, damn, I had a bit of a stinker on that day. There's a shot of Woodrow punching a wall, which is kind of funny. But that's the only kind of like memeable part of the trailer because they got rid of the Woodrow hair.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, Woodrow in himself is just a meme. So
I look
forward to
which is why Woodrow just going ham on a wall, just like, it's kind of great. It seems to be more comedic than the first one, or more overtly so.
Is that even possible?
Which I think is a good thing. It seems to be leaning more into the Venom Eddie dynamic, more of the Venom weirdness, and he's making him breakfast and stuff, which is, on one hand, it takes away a bit of like the kind of horrific element of the character, but also I think that's like the one thing that was quite good about the first one, so maybe they'll overdo it Dwayne Statham style. So. Oh yeah, I forgot you're a weird freak of a man. But
I enjoyed it. It was good.
And yeah, I mean Hardy looks good again, and just he's a handsome
Hardy looking sexy as ever.
handsome lad. They inject Harrelson with the Woodrow. No.
Oh God! Imagine that. That sounds genuinely.
What a horrifying visual! Getting
they
injected
inject Harrelson with the Woodrow.
They inject him with the Carnage Venom thing, which I'm like,
also known as the Woodrow.
Like,
the Carnage Venom thing.
Would you do that? Like, can people in comic book movies just stop injecting people with things? Because like, it worked once when they made Captain America, and every other time it seems to go horribly, horribly wrong. Hashtag that dude from the Incredible
Hashtag
Hulk.
Woodrow.
I mean, what do you think of how Carnage looks? Like the visual of him, he does like a big ol' scream.
He looks alright, I
It's
think.
very CGI, but
don't-
it kind of fits with the world, like
Yeah.
the rest
Again,
of it.
it might not be like completely or not rendered, but like completely done.
Yeah.
Like it's seen in certain other trailers. So I'm hoping for the best.
Yeah, I mean, it looks very much similar to the first one. It looks like it. I don't know.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I think it was
that's the
very
recipe
broke.
They're following,
And they continue
and
to
they need to fix it.
smash it with a hammer. I don't know. It looks a little better, like a little more interesting, but it still seems to have a bit of that kind of generic superhero stuff. But I think injecting Woodrow into your film as the villain, and a more interesting character like Carnage in the role of whatever that guy was called. What was the villain called in that? Riptide or something? Anyway, if you replace that dude with Carnage, I think it immediately bumps the film up a little bit because it makes it just a little bit more interesting, because that character was so dull and nothing, like, from the character to its design to everything. So, I think honestly,
was it Havoc?
No, but that's close. It was something along those lines.
This is bothering me now.
So I think genuinely from this, I think this movie's going to be like slightly better than the first one, but still, have a similar kind of everything. Because the movie did make $1 billion or whatever, so they're going to be like, yeah, we'll just do it again.
Yeah, exactly. Riot.
There you go.
Right?
That was pretty close with Riptide. Well, anyway, so
Riptide.
2 thumbs up on the Venom trailer, or
Oh yes.
I like the song choice.
Most excited.
And yeah, and Venom still looks good, and seems to be some more fun uses of him, like his head comes out to attack a taxi driver. I don't know. Cool. Anyway, it's time for
The Cnews.
there's an article in the Independent. Seth Rogen expresses worry Tom Cruise, quote, won't be happy with Scientology story he shares in new book. Quote,
I swear I'm hearing so much about Seth Rogen lately. Like,
he's doing
that
a
dude
lot,
is
isn't he?
speaking out.
Because also he shaved his beard.
He shaves his beard. He's like dissing James Franco.
Yeah, he cut ties with Franco. I think it's because he's releasing this book, which is like a series of funny and awkward stories from meeting, all the Hollywood elites. Which, I mean, that's kind of a ballsy move to release that. Like, kind of ensuring that some people don't like you now. Like Cruise.
Yeah, exactly.
But he basically shared a story of Cruise tried to not try to recruit him into Scientology, but basically was like telling him like, hey, Scientology is like, it's pretty good. I should talk to you about it and tell you how good it is, and some more stuff like that. I just enjoyed the idea of a Rogen Cruise feud, and I thought you would as well. Well, now it is in fact time for the announcements and such, and I will say actually we're going to record it today because I am going on a little bit of a trip
hiatus
next week, which means I won't be able to record the announcements and such. So we're going to do it now. It's a week early, so we basically won't have the announcements. So if you sent in something or you posted something, we'll get to it next week. But yeah, this week is from Saturday, May 29th.
Don't freak out, guys.
The main thing I want to say, there's really only one thing to say, because also there was one post on the fan page about it, was yesterday, and about a week ago when this goes up, I did in fact release my
the short film
Green Eyes, which has been in the works for months, and I just want to say, I mean, I think I'll mention this in a video on the HUD's channel, but I do just want to say, genuinely one of the coolest YouTube experiences I've ever had.
Not to be all mushy on the pod here, but genuinely a very, very good thing to watch. Like, bloody proud of the co-host here. It was good stuff.
Yeah, well, yeah, again, we save our mushiness for off the pod. But yeah, Freddy's name is in the credits because he did help me a lot throughout the process in many different ways. And just it was the first time I'd been really nervous to post something since I think the face reveal 3 years ago. And the response, I haven't read the comments yet fully. I've like seen a couple, but I want to save like a time to really like look through them. But so far that, and also like people messaging me, the response has been really, really amazing. Like people have been, I don't know, it's been very cool to see, and just really awesome. And thank you guys, everyone, and the
well deserved.
But both pod fan pages posted about it, and yeah, and thanks to all my friends who posted about it, and then just I don't know, just very wholesome, very nice, and very very heartwarming. Yeah. So I can go in depth some other time, but I just want to say genuinely, thank you guys so much, and it was a kind of a crazy evening for me, and it's very good. So yeah, I'm glad people seem to enjoy it so far, and yeah, and the fan pages are linked down below. We're also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and if you're listening there, we're on YouTube. Search the Poorly Planned Podcast. And again, yeah, we'll get some more announcements next week, but yeah. So that's the pod for this week. I'm overheating in this room.
I'm so sweaty.
Oh my god, dude!
It's dripping down me.
I'm genuinely, it's like I'm sitting in a fucking oven.
An hour worth of podcast gives you a 12-pack, I'm pretty sure.
Well, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. You can find me on YouTube, BHL Hudson, Instagram, Twitter, BHL_Hudson. You can email the pod at bhlhudsonvids@gmail.com. Boom.
You can find me on Instagram at FDalgard. You can find me on Twitter at FTK_DaltSniper. And you can find me on YouTube at FTK_Gaming.
Thank you very much for listening, and we will see you next time.
BHL short movie.